It's a real kick to have this gentleman here tonight. He is, without a doubt, one of the most talented actors working today, and in the past several years, he has been really on a roll with some great pictures. Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, The Untouchables. What is the one where he played the lieutenant in the Navy, where he was the Russian? No Way Out. And, of course, this latest film, which he also directed, Dances with Wolves, and it's gotten great critical acclaim.
Oh, what a great
Mr.
picture.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Well, here we are.
I know.
It is, it's nice having you here.
Yeah, thank you.
I know you do next to Root Canal, I guess is your favorite thing to do, right?
I don't do a lot of them, that's for sure.
Why not?
Well, I have about 3 shirts, and you have to like, and you show up on one of these things. I'm told billions of people see it, so you know they kind of know what's in your closet. So
NBC says billions see it. A few million see this every night, but you ought to be really proud of it. First of all, I want to say, before we go any further, I went to see Dances with Wolves the other night. It was playing in Malibu, and I'd heard it was good, but it was better than you thought it was going to be. It's a remarkable picture. You ought to be quite proud of that.
I am. I'm glad that's. It's nice. It's nice when that can happen, because a lot of times when we go, it's not quite what we expected.
Yeah.
And of course, there's going to be people that take the opposite notion of what happened there. But it's nice when it happens that way.
Yeah, I suppose when you get so close to it, when you're not only acting in it, but you're directing it and co-produced, until you put it all together, I suppose you really don't know what you have, do you?
No, you have to wait. You have to wait for people to giggle or boo, you know. And you don't.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Now, let's be honest. We don't really know each other well. I mean, we don't have sleepovers at each other's house or never been to your place for a barbecue, but we have passed professionally.
Yes.
And I bet most people probably don't realize it at all. But when I first formed a Carson production group a few years ago, we produced our very first movie called The Big Chill, which was nominated for an Academy Award. Now, I don't know if people know this story. You were in that picture along with a lot of good actors. Glenn Close was in there, Bill Hurt,
Kevin Kline,
Goldblum, Mary Kay Place, Jeff Goldblum, and you were in that. Jo Beth Williams. You were in that picture, but you were killed off.
I was.
That's right. It revolved around you. You played Alex.
Right. I think that's why our paths probably haven't crossed, because some of my friends who've come here from Orange County today suggested, you know, maybe Johnny cut you.
It's true. Now, that is true. But let me tell you why. Kevin, let me tell you why. I had a vision at that time. You don't know this. I'd said to Larry Kasdan, who directed at that time, I says, Larry, this isn't right for Kevin. I said, I see him in a ball field. At the time, I said, I see buffaloes. I see Great Plains.
I said, put his career on stall.
I said, if he does this picture, it could kill his career. And so we cut you out, and look what happened.
Yes.
You didn't know that. I remember so well. I see lots of buffalo running. Anyway, what happened? It was based about your death in that picture.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you found out?
Well,
that
he called me, and it's like anything else. You know, you have to take it, and the reality of films is, for instance, Dances with Wolves. I've had more scenes cut out of Dances with Wolves than came out of The Big Chill. The Untouchables, more scenes, and in film stuff gets cut. It does. It's a fact of life. You know, if you don't want to get cut, do a play.
Yeah, but this was pretty early in your career. How did you take it when they said, well, it didn't work?
I would have taken it worse if I thought, for instance, that I was, let's say, living in another state and a movie comes into my town and somebody give me one line to be in the movie, and I rush to the movie house to see my one line, because that maybe represented the only time that I would ever act in my life, and that has to crush you.
Yeah.
But I had a feeling that I was gonna, I had my own feelings about my career, and I thought that I was in the right company and I could relax about that.
Yeah. Did you ever, when you did your first line in a play or a picture, call your parents and say, I just did a small thing in a
Yeah,
picture?
my first dressing room was so crummy, but I went and took a picture of it.
And the center
of the thing, and yeah, I remember even the first limousine that comes to our house, the neighbors come out and we take pictures of it. I mean, it was like, I felt like I was going to prom or something, you know. Stand in front of the car, you know, we argued in front of the car.
People don't realize that. When I first came to California, it was in the early 50s, I was announcing at CBS, on KNXC local station, and they did a network show of boxing, CBS boxing, and I was the announcer in the booth, and I got to say, coast to coast, this is the CBS. What did I? See how nervous I was? I got to say, this is the CBS and I called my folks, and I says, you'll hear me tonight, you won't see me. And people stood up to hear me say, this is the CBS. So I know what you're talking about when you first started.
No, it's a big deal, and it remains a big deal for me.
You started, were you going to be a financial?
I took a job out of college at a company, yeah, and I quit.
Quit?
Yeah.
Why, you got a job as actor?
No, I remember the thing that the guy said to me that just drove me crazy. I remember that somebody had insulted me on the phone, and so I said to them back, you know,
where the sun don't shine.
Yeah, and the boss brought me in, and he goes, you know, this guy's our biggest account. And he said to me, he said something that always stuck with me that I never ever forgot. He said, you know something? He says, the customer is always right. And I thought, that is. I said, I work for you, and that means I would do anything to protect you. You know what I mean? I work for you. I protect your interests more than this jerk off. Right. And I said, and he said to me, I said, say that again to me. And he said, the customer's always right. I said, say it again to me one more time. He said, the customer's always right. And I thought,
not for you.
Not for me. I don't believe in that. I believe people still got to be people, yeah?
Right, that's good. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what was the very first thing you did, acting-wise?
Oh, God, the acting-wise, I said, goodnight, Francis, in Francis Farmer Story.
The Francis Farmer Story?
Yeah. I said, goodnight, Francis.
I was touched when you did that. I thought you brought a great deal of depth to that. I mean, a lot of people would throw that line away.
I had a hard time with it, too. CBS.
CBS.
Good night, Jessica. Not Jessica.
Yes.
Good night, Francis.
Did you think you were terrible in it?
I wasn't good in it, particularly good in it. I wasn't particularly good in it.
What turned it around for you?
Well, I think that in anything, I felt like you have a right to get better.
Yeah.
You know, you have the right to get better in the business, and I knew that I would get better because there was something about it that appealed to me in a sense that it was the first time I ever became a good student in my life. I was a terrible student in college. When I started studying acting, I was on fire, and when you discover something you want to do, you become almost obnoxious about it. You just that's all you do, and
get obsessed.
That finally happened to me because all the kids in college who always said I studied for an exam, I wondered what possessed them to study like that. And the first time I ever took a class, I took a class at UCLA. Literally, I'll make this short, but I took the class in film finance or something, and I went and I bought the book before the first day of class, read the whole book, so I showed up the first day, and I was like right in this teacher's face, and I said, I've read this book. Now let's get on to some other stuff. So I was...
My time's valuable.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. I thought, I've read this book, and I thought, I never read a book in college.
That's funny. Can we skip this book and go on to the next one?
Yeah, let's move. Let's get with it. And the teacher didn't really said, maybe you should sit in the back. You're in TNT.
We're going to interrupt for just a moment, but we're coming right back. Stay where you are. Now, you'll have a song with Kevin Costner. You're close to your family. You got your 3 kids, right?
Right.
And a couple of them, you had more than one person from your family in Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, I'm like the only person that has 70mm home movies. I put them all.
Your dad played a soldier in one episode?
My dad shoots the guy that was going to shoot me, and of course my daughter plays in it, and my wife, and all 3 of the kids are roaming around, and they're there, and it worked for the movie. That's why they're in it. Yeah.
Boy, it worked great. Now, one thing you've talked about this before on shows, but what made the thing so believable that the actors, the native actors, the Native American Sioux, spoke in the Sioux language, and you had subtitles, and you carried it all through, which really gave it a marvelous feel rather than having them speak English.
Yeah. I believe that people wanted to see that and wanted to hear it, and it worked off. Thanks for going.
Yeah. Anyway, you have now Having grown up, we talked a little bit before the show, having grown up in one of the Great Plains state, Nebraska, you filmed a lot of this in South Dakota, where they still have prairie land. People don't believe there's still, if that scene you have when you're moving across, you've got the vast panoramic scenes of the grasses and the prairie grass. You don't see that much anymore, do you?
Well, where you do see it is from the air. I mean, you know, people go from LA to New York and they tend to think of crossing America as like a meal in a movie.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the movie? And I don't want the chicken. I want the cold stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, you travel the country and you know it wasn't that way. You know it took forever. And I know we intellectually know that, but things that were with us a long time ago, when you said goodbye to family, that was oftentimes, when you said goodbye, it had a different meaning than when we say goodbye now.
Yeah.
I mean, you maybe never saw them again for a variety of reasons.
Right.
You know, but it's different. And we kind of made the movie on the plains, which hadn't been done too much.
Right.
Usually it's mountains, but this was flat.
And one of the more remarkable scenes in this picture is a buffalo hunt. We got a film clip here, and this is also from South.
Yeah, this is all. It's all there. It's all ours still.
Yeah.
It's there.
Watch this film clip from Dances with Wolves.
Oh, great stuff.
No. That's a marvelous scene. While they were showing, I just asked Kevin, I said, none of that is rear projection, that's not none of the studio stuff. You were out there riding. Buffalo are not small creatures.
No, they're fast and they're mean and they were irritated with us. So.
Yeah. And you were out there riding along.
Yes.
Bother you at all? A little.
Well, it's almost like a sports thing. It's like once it starts, you're a little nervous before it gets started, and once someone hits you or once something happens, you don't hear that. You just start riding for your life. The horses were terrified. Nobody had done that for 150 years.
Great scene.
We couldn't ask anybody. What do you think this is?
You don't put out a call, do you, for buffalo hunters?
No.
Report stage 6.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Dances with Wolves, go see it. It's a great experience. We'll be right back.